You won't believe what happened when this exhausted single mom accidentally fell asleep on the shoulder of a stranger, only to wake up to a twist that would change her life forever. And that stranger? A millionaire CEO with a heart bigger than his bank account. Stay with me, because this is a story of fate, second chances, and the incredible power of kindness. It was nearly 10 p.m. when Claire finally caught the last bus headed back to the tiny apartment she shared with her 4-year-old son, Liam. The fluorescent lights above her flickered faintly as the bus rattled over potholes, and with each bump, her body begged her to close her eyes, just for a moment. The day had been grueling. She'd woken up before dawn, packed Liam's school lunch with the last of the groceries, dropped him off at daycare, and then rushed to her second part-time job cleaning offices. By the time she reached her evening shift as a waitress at a local diner, her legs already ached and her spirit felt threadbare. Claire was 29 but looked older. Lines of worry had etched themselves across her forehead, and her once bright hazel eyes were now dulled by constant fatigue. But she kept going. For Liam. He was the reason she never allowed herself to fall apart. His laugh was her medicine. His tiny arms around her neck each night reminded her why she endured. She found an empty seat near the back of the bus and sat down heavily, her eyes scanning the crowd with a mix of exhaustion and wariness. Next to her sat a sharply dressed man in a dark navy suit. He looked completely out of place, clean-cut, polished, and quietly powerful. Claire barely registered him. She clutched her threadbare bag tightly, containing her few remaining dollars, and leaned slightly against the window. But exhaustion overpowered anxiety. Within minutes, her head tilted, her body gave way, and gently, unknowingly, she rested her cheek against the stranger's shoulder. She didn't feel the sudden stillness in his body. She didn't see the way his head turned slightly to look at her, surprised but not annoyed. She didn't notice the faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. His name was Nathan Hale. CEO of Hale Tech, one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. He wasn't supposed to be on that bus at all. A flat tire on his chauffeured car and a dying phone had left him no choice but to navigate the city like everyone else, for once. He hadn't ridden public transportation in over a decade. But here he was. And beside him was the most tired woman he'd ever seen. At first, he considered waking her. But something in her face, the way her brow furrowed even in sleep, the way her fingers clutched her bag like it contained all she had, told him not to. So he stayed still. Protective, even. The bus continued for nearly an hour before she stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, and the realization hit her like ice water. She had fallen asleep. On a stranger. A man. Claire bolted upright, mortified. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she stammered, flushed with embarrassment. "I didn't mean to." "It's all right," Nathan said, his voice calm and steady. "You looked like you needed the rest." She didn't know what to say. No one had shown her kindness like that in a long time. They both got off at the same stop by coincidence, she to walk another mile home, he to call a ride from a nearby coffee shop. As she turned to leave, he called out, "Wait." She paused. Nathan hesitated, then asked, "Would you mind if I walked with you a bit?" Claire blinked. "Why?" "Because I don't know this part of the city," he lied gently, not wanting to make her uncomfortable. "And honestly, I wouldn't mind the company." Something in his eyes told her he meant well. Against her usual instincts, she nodded. They walked. She didn't talk much at first, but Nathan asked questions, not prying, but sincere. And she found herself opening up. Bit by bit, word by word. She told him about Liam. About juggling jobs. About her dreams that had been put on hold when Liam's father left before he was born. She didn't realize she was crying until he gently offered her a handkerchief from his jacket pocket. When they reached her apartment building, she apologized for the neighborhood. "It's not safe," she said. But it's all I can afford. He looked up at the broken windows, the graffiti, the flickering street lamp. You shouldn't have to live like this, he said quietly. She smiled, defeated. Well, I do. Nathan didn't sleep much that night. He kept thinking about the woman on the bus. Her strength. Her weariness. Her boy. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had just crossed paths with someone important. Someone the world had forgotten to care for. The next day, he instructed his assistant to find out everything they could, discreetly. He wasn't stalking her, he told himself. He just wanted to help. People like her deserved better. A week passed. Claire hadn't expected to see him again. So when she walked into the diner one afternoon and saw Nathan sitting in her section, dressed down this time in jeans and a sweater, she nearly dropped her tray. You, she breathed. I hope this isn't weird, he said. But I wanted to talk to you again. And so began a string of quiet visits. Once a week. Always polite, never invasive. They talked over coffee when her shift ended. Slowly, Nathan became a fixture in her life. He met Liam, who took to him immediately. He offered to pay for repairs around her apartment, but she refused. You don't owe me anything, she insisted. But Nathan didn't see it that way. He saw a brilliant, determined woman who had been dealt an unfair hand, and kept fighting anyway. He saw in her the very resilience he admired in his best employees. And then, one rainy evening, he offered her a job. Marketing assistant, he said. Full-time. Benefits. Day hours. I know you studied business before you had to drop out. Claire was stunned. Are you serious? I'm not offering charity, he said. I'm offering a chance. You're smart. I believe in you. She took it. The transition wasn't easy. She battled imposter syndrome, learned to navigate a world that had once felt so far away. But she grew. And Nathan was always there. Patient. Encouraging. What started as gratitude slowly became something more. They were falling in love, but neither wanted to admit it. It wasn't until one winter night, months later, when Liam fell sick and had to be hospitalized, that Claire saw the full measure of Nathan's heart. He was there before she could even call. Paid the hospital bills without asking. Slept in the uncomfortable chair by her side. Held Liam's hand when she was too exhausted to keep her eyes open. And one night, when she was crying quietly beside the hospital bed, he wrapped his arms around her and whispered, "You're not alone anymore." That was the moment Claire knew. She wasn't just a struggling single mom anymore. She was loved. Protected. Seen. And Nathan? The millionaire CEO with everything? He had finally found what he never knew he was missing, a family.